So it's official. Donald Trump has signed the Crypto Genius Act into law.
Thank you very much, everybody.
And the altcoin market is absolutely pumping. So in this video, we're going to talk about 5 explosive altcoins that I am extremely bullish on. So if you've been researching for the best crypto to buy now, and you're wondering which projects are going to experience the largest growth to the upside, this is the video for you. I want you to pay very close attention to what David Sachs, the AI and crypto czar at the White House, has to say towards the end of this video, because it's going to completely change the game. We're also getting into the price charts for Bitcoin compared to the altcoin market and what's about to happen next for Bitcoin's dominance that's going to directly affect the altcoins inside of the top 10 and outside of the top 10. So I know we've talked a lot about XRP recently over the past few years, and it's up 24% over the past 7 days. But a lot of people have also asked us, what are the other projects that we're bullish on? That way you can have a strong diversification strategy. So I'm going to spend most of the time on the charts in today's video because price action, momentum, and volume really tells us all that we need to know, because these projects are in the hottest narratives like AI, real world assets, decentralized exchanges, meme coins, and layer 1. So I picked one project from each of these categories, and the timestamps will be below this video. So as always, comment 777 if you're feeling blessed, if you're feeling bullish, and if you're going to become the first millionaire in your family tree. Confirm it by tapping the subscribe button. Let's run it. All right, bull runners, welcome back to the channel. So listen to what Donald Trump just said after signing this bill into law.
Incredible strength of America. This is going to make it stronger, and congratulations on this incredible achievement. You've made our dollar look really good and strong and powerful. It's good for the dollar and it's good for the country. And that's why I backed you at an early stage. And I also did it for the votes, because you did come out and vote. I will tell you.
Now, Trump is right about one thing there. It does make crypto look strong, but the dollar is actually not very strong right now. Since January of this year, the dollar's been in a downtrend on the DXY from 110 to 98 as the crypto market breaks out this year. And so the dollar has just been collapsing slowly through inflation, what the Federal Reserve has been doing with the Treasury by printing unlimited amounts of money. So Trump just has to say what he has to say to make everything big, everything powerful, everything strong in America. But it's just a fact that the dollar is not strong. And the reality is, and the facts are, the dollar has been dropping relative to a basket of other countries' currencies since October of 2022. So the majority of which I'm going to share with you guys in this video is just based on facts and data, specifically on the charts, rather than my opinion here. Because if you look at the dollar's purchasing power over time, well, when the Federal Reserve Act created a central bank with the ability to manage the country's money supply, that was the beginning of the end by then. And then back in 1930, when President Roosevelt criminalized the possession of gold absolutely started to take off. Then the Bretton Woods Agreement established the gold standard and the US dollar as the world's reserve currency. The gold standard was abandoned and currencies were no longer linked to gold back in the 1970s when Nixon took the dollar off the gold standard. And then credit cards started to come out. Companies like Visa, MasterCard, student loans started going through the roof, and credit card debt went through the roof because buy now, pay later marketing campaigns started to go out there. And then quantitative easing began in 2008 in response to the financial crisis with George Bush, blasting the Federal Reserve's balance sheet. All the way back here in September of 2008, when you guys see the total assets in millions of dollars absolutely skyrocket, pretty much similar to what happened back here as well too. By February to March of 2020, during COVID, when they started adding to their balance sheet. So the Federal Reserve has been retracting on their balance sheet since 2022, or tightening, which is quantitative tightening. QE is quantitative easing for them to add to their balance sheet, print more money, etc. So if the crypto market has been doing what it's doing while interest rates are high, while the Federal Reserve has been tightening on their balance sheet, well, imagine what's going to happen in the crypto market when those two things turn around. Plus, when the Federal Reserve starts to lower interest rates as well too, while the dollar just continues to go down in value, it'll be the perfect storm of opportunity. So listen to what David Sachs here said at the end of his speech.
All right, thank you, President Trump. It's a great honor to be here, and it's true that I'd never expected to work in government at all, and then everything changed after President Trump came on my podcast, and I accepted this job as crypto czar because I thought it was a once-in-a-lifetime opportunity to work for a president who really wants to get things done for the American people. And if anything, that's been an understatement. The first 6 months of this administration have been more successful than any administration in American history. What's been done? It's just been incredible. President Trump has worked at tech speed. We're used to working fast in Silicon Valley, but even this is fast for us in Silicon Valley. The speed at which you move President Trump's really incredible. And now today, you have another historic legislative achievement that is a monumental step to fulfilling your promise to making the United States the crypto capital of the world. This Genius Act will unlock American dominance in the crypto industry by creating clear rules of the road. It will update archaic payment rails with a revolutionary new payment system. And it will extend U.S. dollar dominance, like you said, globally, by creating a digital dollar that people all over the world can use. And for every digital dollar in a crypto wallet, there'll be a traditional dollar in a U.S. bank account, which will create trillions of dollars of demand for U.S. Treasuries. So that is the power of this bill, is U.S. dollar dominance.
So with the passage of this bill and also 3 other bills as well too, we saw Bitcoin touch $123,000. Now Bitcoin's at $117,000. So Bitcoin's been in an uptrend ever since the bear market lows, just forming higher lows and higher highs. So the real question everyone wants to know is, when will this bull run end? And at the bottom of the screen, you can see the crypto total market cap excluding Bitcoin. So every single other altcoin, we're still below the previous high of 2021 of about $1.67 trillion. And with the altcoin market breaking out right now to come back into this zone as resistance, we're getting very, very close for an absolute explosion in altcoins, like what happened to Bitcoin right here, from $70,000 upwards of $100,000. So the real question is, how high will that put the total altcoin market cap on the next major move into price discovery? And what are the top altcoins to buy now? So let's dive into category number 1, real world assets, because tokenizing real world assets is going to bring trillions of dollars into the blockchain industry, because pretty much everything can be tokenized. Real estate can be tokenized, stocks can be tokenized. They've already done that. Even art can be tokenized. And as you guys can see right here, the real world asset protocols category on CoinMarketCap is ranked number 7 with a market cap of $71 billion spread across all these projects. So as you already know, I'm bullish on a lot of these projects like XLM, Chainlink, HBAR, AVAX, Ondo, Algo, pretty much the top ones. But for the purpose of this video, we're selecting one project right now that is going to perform incredibly well by the tail end of this year. Now, this isn't financial advice. I'm not telling you to buy this. The title of this video is purely what people are searching for, where we answer questions, concerns, rumors, news, you name it. But what you choose to do is up to you, because crypto is very risky. So if you choose to buy any of these projects right now and they pull back, just understand that you can still lose money in these markets. So pay very close attention, because I'm going to share with you on the charts why I believe these projects are still going to perform well. So in no particular order, the first project on today's list is Ondo. Now, Ondo is sitting at about $1 with an all-time high upwards of $2, and the market cap of Ondo is about $3.19 billion with $400 million in volume over the past 24 hours. Now, Ondo has 147,000 holders, and Trump's project World Liberty Fi backed Ondo Finance, which launched the first tokenized treasury fund on SEI, marking the first tokenized treasury product on the scalable layer 1. So Ondo is a real-world asset startup with backing by Donald Trump's team. So Ondo was founded back in 2021, focused on on-chain institutional-grade financial products. They're also backed by BlackRock, the largest money management company in the world, their Buildle Fund, and OMMF, tokenized money market fund that invests in low-risk, income-generating assets. Ondo is the largest real-world asset project by total value locked, with approximately $1.4 billion worth of managed assets, and the chart is looking absolutely primed for a breakout. Now, it's on the Ethereum network. If you guys go to coinmarketcap.com, you can look at the contract address right here. You can also click on Markets, this tab right here, and I'll show you what exchanges it's listed on. It's on all the top centralized and decentralized exchanges, which is going to allow for massive volume to flow in because it's on Binance and Coinbase. Some coins that are mid-cap or micro-caps right now aren't on Binance, or they're not on Coinbase, where the normies and the retail investors are going to come in and just dump a bunch of capital, as BlackRock starts to push their marketing campaigns to mainstream media towards the tail end of this bull run. Now, at first glance at the chart of Ondo, we can see that it's broken out right here from about 63 cents to $1.01. So I want to share with you a few things that I look at on the chart, and by the end of this video, you guys are going to have a better understanding of how to look at charts yourself. And so, in June of 2024, topping out around $1.50, after this rally, from its launch, we saw a sell-off of approximately 66%. And so we just simply formed lower highs and lower lows until we found a bottom. Now, this wick right here was the bottom for Ondo. And then it started to build a foundation on this base, forming higher lows in this anger and depression stage in the psychology of a market cycle. Now, if you guys don't know what the psychology of a market cycle is, I'll put it up on the screen right now so you can see when we're in euphoria, which is all the way up here, when we're in complacency, and then anxiety, denial, panic, anger, all the way down here, capitulation. And then depression is when people pretty much give up, they sell off, and they get out of the markets because it takes a long time to get to depression from when they bought in euphoria at $1.50. I mean, this was the 2nd of June of 2024. The depression stage was all the way down here 153 days later. So that was about 5 months. Most people can't hold on for longer than a week, let alone a month. Talk about half a year here. while Ondo dropped over 60%. So if you invested $10,000 and you see that your portfolio is only worth $4,000, your only thought would be, well, let me get out of this trash project. But this is how markets move. This is how even Bitcoin moved. Bitcoin dropped, 80+% during previous bear markets. Now, this was not that long of a sell-off for Ondo because this project was relatively new. And as you can see, when it broke out here from the 6th of November, it was only until the 16th of December that it rallied over 270% to over $2 for a new high. And then we repeated the psychology of a market cycle again. We just formed lower highs and lower lows until we found a low. And so the low for Ondo was right here at about 64 cents, similar to how we found a low all the way back here in August of 2024. So what happens after we find a low? Well, we experience a revival pattern. We break the downtrend. So we break a descending resistance, just like we did right here by September 2024. And we come back into a previous zone that was support prior. So what do I mean by that? Well, if I just draw a zone right here in the past, you can see when Ondo was selling off back here in July of 2024, it bounced off of 85 cents all the way to $1.15. So we would mark that as a major support, which also was a major resistance that Ondo got rejected from during this revival pattern right here. So right around 87 cents. And so that was just a major zone to note because as Ondo sold off and then formed higher lows, that was a major level that needed to be cleared during this stage right here of the breakout. Because when Ondo finally started to break out by November of 2024 and holding on top of that zone of support, that was like the bat signal or the bull signal for institutions to step in and start pumping money into Ondo. And I believe it's about to happen again. Now, why do I believe that? It's because the chart pattern is playing out very, very similar. If we look right here on the 15th of January, when Ondo sold off to about $1.12, we bounced all the way up to $1.66, and then we sold off all the way down here. And as you can see right now, what is Ondo doing? Well, back here on the 12th of May, we rallied into this zone as resistance and got rejected from it to come back down to form a higher low, similar to what happened back here in November of 2024, and now we're rebounding off of this low, coming back into this zone right here, similar to what happened back in the middle of November of 2024. So as the altcoin market continues to break out, Ondo is going to be one of the leading real-world asset projects until the rotation of capital goes from large caps to mid caps to micro caps. So the majority of the institutional money right now is still going to be in the large cap projects. We're not in euphoria stage. Remember, guys, if you look at the psychology of a market cycle again on the screen right now, bull runs do not end when we're in the depression stage. They end when we are in the euphoria stage at levels all the way up here, when everyone is getting in the markets. Remember, when nobody cares about a project, that's the best time to accumulate. And as long as the project has strong fundamentals, which Ondo does, then you just simply look at social interest. Because between November 17th through the 23rd of 2024, Google Trends shows the searches for Ondo were 100 out of 100. So where was Ondo during that time? Well, it was when Ondo was breaking out. Now, where's Ondo right now? Well, it's at 73 out of 100. So we're definitely not at the bottom, but guys, no project is. So you would have had to been accumulating back at the end of June to get the best deal on any of these altcoins. Now, here's why I'm bullish on Ondo just from a chart perspective and a technical perspective. Because Ondo's high right here is at $2 and it's sitting about $1, a 2x away from its all-time high. What's happening on the Ondo price chart is very similar to what happened roughly right around this stage right here for Total 2 back in October of 2023. So we had a major resistance right here that acted as support all the way back from 2021 for Total 2 to break through. And when that happened, we just consolidated on top of it as support ever since the 4th of December of 2023 until the 12th of February. And so this is on the weekly chart for Total 2. This is just a more compressed time frame on the daily chart for Ondo because we can see a similar formation play out. And if you guys have been watching my channel over the past few years, you've seen me break these comparisons down for you and they play out almost to the T, although there are some differences here. As Ondo continuously climbs higher into this resistance, we need to see it break this resistance, clear it, and hold it as support, similar to what happened back here for Total 2, before we make another major move back to the complacency stage high, like what happened here by the 11th of March of 2024 at about $1.3 trillion for the total altcoin market. Because you can see back here on the 28th of March at the bottom of the screen in 2022, this was the complacency stage high in the psychology of a market cycle. So I'll put the psychology of a market cycle above me right now so you guys can just reference this to the chart. And you can see how this plays out on every single chart. This is too easy. This is a money glitch right here. So look at the complacency stage right here for Ondo at the top of the screen. Look at the complacency stage right here for Total 2 at the bottom of the screen. You can see euphoria all the way up here. You can see euphoria all the way up here. Then this whole breakdown to the bottom, is just simply the anxiety, denial, panic, and the final capitulation down here, Like I just mentioned, by the time we get to depression, it takes so long, so everyone's sold out of the markets by then, because look at Total 2 from the peak to right here before the breakout took place, it was 700 days. So 2 years. This is why money in the crypto market moves from the hands of the impatient to the patient. So this takes patience here. I'm not saying that Ondo's going to break out and do a 2x tomorrow. This is going to take some time. So just like it's taken over 100 years for the dollar to pretty much lose 95 to 99% of its value, the real wealth from the crypto market over the next 50 to 100 years is going to be built on the seeds that you plant today. Because you don't plant a tree when you're 50 or 70 years old to harvest the fruits. You're planting it at that age to pass down to future generations. So that's generational wealth. So yes, I do think within your lifetime, I don't think it's going to take 100 years for Ondo to perform, obviously. I do think by the tail end of this year, this thing's going all the way back up here, although there's no guarantees, but to its all-time high, even past it. Because look at what happened to Total 2 if I zoom out right here. After it came back up into the complacency stage high, we just had a much longer consolidation phase. So I think when Ondo gets up into these levels at about $1.60, potentially up to $2, we'll see some type of consolidation before we experience a blow-off top in a euphoria stage of the market cycle. So if we were to just draw the Fibonacci retracement tool from the previous high right here in December to the low, I think $3 is definitely possible. That's a 1.618. To do a full extension of a 4.236, that's $7 for Ondo. That's a 7x from here. That's roughly a $21 billion market cap. Now, as you know, that's not that much money to flow into Ondo. 21 billion is just a little bit above Hyperliquid and right below Cardano. And you can see right here back in November of 2024, Hyperliquid was only a $300 million market cap. So in 8 months, $14 billion is coming in market cap. So over the next 5 months, I don't see why Ondo is well above a $10 billion market cap project. Now, for me personally, I don't like price predictions just simply because price doesn't matter as much as volume and momentum. So what I like to look at is macro timeframes like the weekly or the monthly, and I look at these key indicators like the stochastic and the relative strength index, and I look for us to be in overbought conditions all the way up here. So on the weekly, we can see the RSI is at 53 for Ondo. You know, the stochastic is at 54 and 76 in positive momentum. So we're not anywhere near 100 on the stochastic. We're not anywhere above 70 on the relative strength index, which shows me Ondo has a lot of room to grow to the upside. And as Bitcoin's dominance breaks down further, you know, we dropped from 66% to about 61%. That capital is flowing into the large caps right now, like Ethereum, like XRP, Solana, Dogecoin, Cardano, and a few other large caps. Even some mid caps as well too. So Ondo's up 13% over the past week, but I think it's just getting started. Now, the next category of crypto that we need to look at is the one that has the most dominance here, 82%, and that is layer ones. Now, layer one is simply a crypto project that has their own blockchain like Bitcoin, Ethereum, BNB, Solana, Tron, Cardano, Hyperliquid, Sui, the list goes on and on and on. So the next project on today's list is Sui. Now, Sui, we called all the way back here in 2024 when it was around $1 inside of Altcoin Pro University that you guys can check out through the link in the description below if you want to get these altcoin picks early before we ever make videos about them. So it's up 3 to 4x from right there. And right now, Sui's market cap is at about $13 billion, and it's just getting started this bull run. And what makes Sui very attractive is the transaction speed is extremely fast and it is very cheap compared to Ethereum or even Solana. Now, if you want a quick breakdown of Sui versus Solana, I made this short on the channel right here, talking about which one I believe would 10x faster in 2025. Everyone wants to know which cryptocurrency can 10x the fastest in 2025, Solana or Sui. Solana is a high-speed layer 1 blockchain with blazing fast 400 millisecond block times and over 65,000 transactions per second in a perfect environment. It's got a strong ecosystem with over 164 DeFi projects and decentralized apps, and Sui, on the other hand, is a newer contender backed by Meta's ex-developers. With its unique DAG structure, it claims to handle over 700,000 transactions per second in a perfect environment and has already grown in total value locked by over 60% in just a month on DeFiLlama.com. Now, here's the kicker. Sui's market cap is around $5 billion, while Solana's is close to $70 billion, giving Sui more room for explosive growth. I posted Sui in our private Telegram group around $1, and that's why I'm personally betting on Sui to 10x faster. Drop a comment below. Which project do you think will 10x the fastest? Let's hear your thoughts, because when we look at DeFi Llama, the total value lock for Sui has been exploding. It's past the previous high of January 2025. So the price chart is bound to catch up, because right now the price for Sui is at $3.70, whereas the all-time high is over $5.40. So if the total value locked is above the all-time high and the price is still below the all-time high, then we have a lot of catching up to do. So what's happening right now in Sui's price chart reminds me of what took place right here back in September of 2024. And we can see with this short-term temporary pullback for SUI right at this zone of resistance, the main thing that needs to happen for the total altcoin market for like Ondo for SUI is for total 2 to continue breaking out and to clear this major resistance right here at about $4.20. So once this resistance clears, SUI can march up relatively quickly to about $5.40. Now, what I would want to see on the price chart is some type of bearish divergence potentially, because look at the bottom of the screen right here. When SUI broke above $1.10, it rallied really quick to about $1.60, and it just formed higher highs and higher lows in this bullish channel right here back to the previous high before getting rejected and forming a cup and handle formation. So this is the cup, this is the handle for SUI, and then the price target is the depth of the cup. So I'll explain a little bit where that would put SUI's price target based on this potential cup and handle that is about 3/4 of the way through the cup. But what a bearish divergence is when the price chart makes higher highs, but a major indicator like the relative strength index, the RSI, or the MACD makes lower highs. So we can see this right here from September when the stochastic topped out at about 100, we formed a bearish cross. We saw SUI rally all the way up to $1.63, experience a little tiny pullback here to like $1.40, and then march higher. Well, that was when the stochastic broke down while the price chart was breaking up. And on this major bounce right here, by the 15th of October, when SUI topped out, that was a major sign that momentum had slowed from bullish momentum now to then go into bearish momentum for the handle. So this is what we want to look for to understand when longer corrections and consolidations would take place, because that consolidation period was from the 13th of October until about the 9th of November for about 27 days. So it's not that long, but it's still a month. You didn't want to be buying that breakout all the way up here on this lower high on the stochastic RSI, because that was a major selling point back into a previous resistance, which was the high of March of 2024. So right now, we are a little overheated on the stochastic RSI, but that's not a bad thing, because that shows that the bulls have stepped in. But in order to see a major trend reversal, we need to clear this high of the 13th of May, and we need to do something similar to what happened all the way back here by September of 2024, where SUI would break this resistance to form a new high. Then on a pullback for SUI, I would want to see the stochastic RSI reset to the downside, similar to what happened here by the 6th of October of 2024 at the bottom of the screen. And as the price chart continuously marches up, well, then I would want to see some type of lower high for the stochastic RSI. So it's still a little too early for something like this, but if this takes place, now you know what to look for to better understand what a bearish divergence is, for then the handle to form to finish up this cup right here in this rounded bottom formation for SUI back to the previous high. And then as we see the consolidation during the handle, that's really the last stop before we explode to the upside into price discovery, depending on where Bitcoin is. So make sure you subscribe to the channel, because I'll be explaining that to you guys in other videos when I break down Bitcoin's price chart. But to understand the price target for SUI, just based on a cup and handle formation, we take the depth of the cup from the top to the bottom, and we put it to the breakout point, which would be right at the all-time high. And so that would be roughly at about $9 right here. So between a 2 or 3x for SUI. Now that might not seem crazy, but hear me out here. Because when you truly understand the path to alt season and how liquidity flows, you won't jump right into the smallest market cap projects right now, because we've seen a transition from phase 1 to phase 2 with Ethereum breaking out, and Ethereum started outperforming Bitcoin while Bitcoin's dominance dropped. So the money that is flowing into Ethereum is going to trickle into large caps like SUI first before we go into phase 4 at the final stage in the euphoria stage, when virtually everything is going vertical and microcaps are pumping 50% or 100% in a day because their market caps are only at like $10 million, $50 million. I do think there will be some of those projects pumping while Ethereum and the rest of the top 10 break out. But right now, putting our attention on where the institutional money is going is how you can ride the wave up during phase 2 and phase 3. And then as you rotate some of that capital and hedge some out, you could then position a portion of that into small caps towards the tail end of this bull run to maximize your gains. And then if you want to learn how to put your crypto to work for you during a bear market and even during a bull market without needing to sell your crypto, then make sure you guys attend our live event July 20th through the 22nd through the link below. It'll take you to a page that looks like this, where you're going to learn how to safely turn your HODL portfolio into passive daily cash flow, no matter the market conditions, through 3 live sessions. We're going to reveal the exact DeFi strategies that our team uses to beat traditional market returns without watching charts all day or losing sleep over volatility through different layer 1 protocols and DeFi protocols like SUI and other chains. So you can scroll down this page, you'll see what we're covering on day 1, day 2, day 3, July 20th, 8 p.m. Eastern Standard Time will be the general free seats. We also have VIP seats for you guys as well too at 7 p.m. Eastern Standard Time on the 20th. So this is the last chance to register in like a day or two. We're going to be going live and you do not want to miss day one. So get your ticket. The link for that will be below and you can learn while you earn, because when we take the Fibonacci tool for SUI and we just draw it from the high to the low, a 1.618 is about $7.61, 2.618 is $11, and a full extension, $17. I mean, that would be incredible. That'd be a 300% for SUI from where we're at right now. And you guys got to remember, you're coming in a little bit late to this bull run if you're brand new. You know, we were calling out these altcoins all the way down here, back around $1 for SUI, and even during 2022 and 2023. So the people that were buying those dips down here, let's say you bought it about $1, you know, you'd be up 276% right now. So if SUI went to, let's say, $7, that's a 600% growth versus only 100% or 200% rally. So we're going to experience those 5x, 10x, 15, 20x at this late in the bull run cycles by riding these layer ones and other large cap projects in the real world asset space and some other sectors of crypto, and then rotating that capital to some mid caps and micro caps when it's their turn to rally. And we'll make videos on them when it's time, so subscribe. Now, the next category of crypto we're going to focus on is AI and big data, because as you already know, ChatGPT, Elon Musk, Grok, and Twitter have absolutely taken off with their updates they're doing. Even AI images, videos, you don't even know what's real anymore on Instagram and TikTok these days with AI generated videos. For all you know, you could be watching an AI version of me right now, although you're not. Maybe we'll get there on the channel here soon. But in the AI category right here, you can see that the market cap of the AI projects is about $34 billion. And this is going to be one of the hottest sectors that investors are just going to be dumping money into, like they were the dot-com bubble era for any company that just had a .com domain. So it's hard to just narrow it down to one project because I'm bullish on so many of these, and I think they're all going to perform relatively close to each other. But to be real, just narrowing it down with these top three, BitTensor, Tau, Near Protocol, Internet Computer, I think they're all going to do incredibly well. But for the purpose of this video, we're going to talk about Internet Computer just because I like the setup on the price chart right here. Internet Computer is about $5.69 with a $3 billion market cap and $184 million in volume in the past 24 hours, but it's down 42% over the past year. So the high right here is about $15 right here back in December of 2024. Infinity, the company behind this, is doing so many different things, guys. This is in virtually all the top categories like smart contracts, layer ones, DePIN, AI, gaming, metaverse, play to earn, you name it. And it's been a while since I made a video about ICP. In fact, my last video was all the way here about a year ago, November 30th of 2023, when the price was around $4.68. Getting ready for a breakout from this downtrend all the way back here. And as you can see, ICP absolutely exploded to the upside. It rallied to all the way over $20. So if you caught that video at $4, you would have got over 300% on that trade right there. And since then, ICP has just pulled back, and we can see lower highs and lower lows ever since March of 2024. So keep your eyes close on this project, because if we haven't bottomed yet, like if this isn't the bottom, and let's say we have a final low all the way down here back to levels that we were at prior to the breakout in September of 2023, I don't think we're going lower than that for ICP. And eventually, I would expect us to experience a breakout back to these previous levels up here between $15 to $20. And if we even look all the way back here, when ICP was upwards of $88 even after launch, this project was heavily manipulated by the FTX company because they were using Solana to basically pump it and then sell off ICP to rotate that money into Solana. So there's a lot of controversy around it, but that's not to take away from the fundamentals and what the team has been doing behind the scenes, just building. So on the weekly chart, if we look at the relative strength index, we're at 47 right here. We're holding on top of the RSI-based moving average. The stochastic RSI is about 90 and 80 in bullish momentum, while the price just kind of hangs out here between $4 and $6.30 within this tight range right here. So at some point, something is going to break for ICP. In the way that Bitcoin is going, the rest of the altcoin market, I think it's going to break to the upside. Now, the next levels that we need to watch for ICP is all the way up here around $11. You guys can see this was a very strong zone of support right here where the bulls were aggressively defending it, and then it acted as resistance right here. It also acted as support resistance right through this range right here before breaking to the downside. So that move for ICP would be about 80 to 100%, depending on where it stops at. And that'd be coming back in contact with this descending resistance right here. So this is what we need to watch for. But as ICP coils up further and further this summer and goes through some type of consolidation pattern with SUI, Ondo, the rest of the market, when the next Brit major move happens for Total 2 back into price discovery, I think ICP is going to break to the upside. Because the previous high right here, the 25th of March, was only an $8 billion market cap. And right now the market cap's at $3 billion. So to get back to that high, it's roughly 265%. Now, just using the fibs right here from this high to the current low, to get back to the high of 2021 of $85 for a 4.236 extension, that's over 1,000%, which is a 10x for ICP. So I think ICP has a lot of room to run. When you look at the macro market view of this project, I think we're in the depression stage on the weekly chart right here. So this is when a lot of people have gotten out of ICP. They've forgotten about it. We're just kind of hanging out here down at the levels that we were at back in July of 2024, just barely above the low of September of 2023. And so when ICP uses this level as a springboard to the upside, just be ready because I'm going to play this video in the future over the next few months, just like I did this video right here that I made 1 year ago when ICP was at $4.68 before making that run to $21. Because an increase in 38% in volume over the past 24 hours shows that ICP is waking up. Now, the next category of crypto that we need to look at is decentralized exchange tokens. And the reason why is because with layer ones having a wide variety of projects built on their blockchains, those projects need a decentralized exchange to trade on. And so these decentralized exchanges create tokens that people can be able to hold or use within their protocols. For example, last bull run, Uniswap was a major exchange and still is a major exchange for Ethereum. And since then, they've added a bunch of other chains. We also had PancakeSwap, which was major on Binance for those of you that were around there during the 2021 bull run. These were the top two exchanges on both of those chains because Ethereum was doing well and BNB token was doing incredibly well. So if we scroll further and further down the list here, now we're getting into the mid-cap projects for you degenerates out there that do want to get a running start a few laps ahead of the competition. You don't want to just sit in the 2Xers here in the large caps. So that brings me to Cedus protocol. Now we just talked about Sui, a layer one. And so Cedus is the exchange on Sui that is like Uniswap to Ethereum or PancakeSwap to the Binance Smart Chain. That's what Cedus is to Sui's blockchain. And the market cap of Cedus is only $95 million. So it's still below $100 million market cap. If you look at the circulating supply right here, 82% of the max supply is in circulation. So that's incredible. And if you look at the top projects right here on Sui's ecosystem, we have Sui at 13 billion, Bonk at 2.6 billion, Deepbook Protocol at 600 million, then Walrus at 600 million, then Cedus is a steep drop off right there of 95 million. So I think Cedus has a lot of catching up to do. And I believe that'll happen when Sui makes a major breakout. I think whatever Sui does, Cedus will actually beat it in percentage gains. So if you guys are bullish on Sui, then a derivative play that you could actually make to potentially make more money. Again, there's no guarantees here, but that would be Cedus. And if we look at the chart right here, this looks incredible in my opinion. So let's go to TradingView. Because if we go here on the daily chart, we can see that Cedus has sold off after its launch of December 2024. And it did what virtually every single project does. It drops 80+% all the way down to the low. So once we find a low here, what do? Well, we break out into a previous range that was support as resistance to get rejected. So we didn't quite make it up to this range right here that you can see was support all the way back in late 2024, early 2025, but we got close. So this wick right here was close enough to it. In fact, I think it actually did tap this low right here in this wick on the 13th of January. So this is the major resistance that I think Cedus will be coming back into. And I don't think it's going to stop there because the market cap is only at around $100 million. I think this thing is going to fly past that. So what's happening right here? Well, let's bring up the psychology of a market cycle again. And you guys can see we just finished the depression stage right here. And we're going into the disbelief rally for Cedus before we go into hope, where people start thinking that a recovery is possible for these mid-cap and these micro-cap projects. And then what comes after that is basically straight up euphoria. So we are a little overheated right now on the stochastic RSI. You know, we're above 80. We've been above here for a period of time on this rally for Cedus. So depending on how much steeper Total 2 pulls back in the short term, you know, Cedus could consolidate sideways for a little bit and pull back a little bit further before we see the move. But I think this project is going to perform well towards the tail end of this year. So just keep this one on your radar here. Because when Cedus does make the move, it's going to be aggressive. It's going to be very quick, like what happened here by the 22nd of April to the 28th of April. In about a week, Cedus went from 10 cents all the way upwards of 23 cents. Very, very quick. So when these moves happen, they happen fast. You just have to go through the patience of accumulating while it's boring and it's taking a few weeks and it's taking a few months down at levels down here before that move happens. Because that move just back to the previous high right here of May is about 120%, but to the all-time high, it's all the way up here over 323%, and that's still only a $300 million market cap. Keep in mind, a $300 million market cap for Cedus would be where Uniswap was back in September of 2020 here at 337 million. Look at what happened to Uniswap during that 2021 bull run. It rallied all the way up to $21 billion market cap. Now, I'm not saying Cedus is going to go to a $21 billion market cap, but it's definitely possible if Sui is going upwards of a 30, 40, 50 billion dollar market cap for Cedus to absorb a billion or two of that. Plus with how this chart setup is with us down here at these major accumulation levels. Well, on the weekly chart right here, you guys can see that we just experienced a bullish cross right about 36 on the stochastic. The RSI is sitting at about 41 right now, but there's not enough data on the RSI to really matter. Just looking at the stochastic RSI, this is actually incredibly bullish right here. Plus, with us being down at these levels, I just think it's a no-brainer for this project from a technical standpoint. And if we look at the cumulative revenue across all protocols on Sui's blockchain, we'll see this is at number 1 over the past 24 hours. The total value locked is $105 million. They did experience a hack though, so that is one downside that has scared off a lot of people from this project, but they've recovered since then. From that crisis to a relaunch in under 3 weeks. So they focused on improving their security, and also they launched Cedus Pro, which was a visual data park for discovering new on-chain opportunity, Cedus Tide, introducing institutional grade RFQ-based quotes to optimize swap pricing, Binance Wallet, powering native Sui swaps for one of the largest user bases in Web3. They also added their modular terminal and Cedus portfolio, and more things that they're working on. So they've achieved some pretty good milestones since then, with volume, total accounts grown on the platform, total transactions. They're consistently ranked in the top 10 DEX and aggregators across all chains, and they're the leading Sui DEX and aggregator by daily volume fees and all key metrics after the relaunch. So if this project can pull it off, I think it can absolutely crush it by the end of this bull run. Now, the last category of crypto and the most degenerate, but also the most explosive, is meme coins. And everybody's heard of Dogecoin, especially when Elon Musk was shilling it on Saturday Night Live. That was at the exact top. So many derivatives have been launched, like Shiba Inu. Then we have other projects like Pepe, Bonk. Even Trump launched a meme coin. Floki was launched, which was Elon Musk's dog, which is a Shiba Inu. And these projects, guys, have gone over $1 billion in market cap. So it's very clear that meme coins are here to stay, because you're buying one thing, you're buying community. And that's what crypto's all about. Meme coins is not a place where fundamentals or teams or dev and product developments matter. And in fact, it actually is the exact opposite. You're buying into what will go the most viral, and also what has the biggest community behind it. So with Pepe rallying to over a $5.5 billion market cap, in previous videos I've talked about where Pepe came from. This artist right here by the name of Matt Fury. So he created Pepe and a few other characters, one of them being Brett, which is the leading meme coin on the base chain, which is Coinbase's blockchain. Now, Coinbase is the number 1 exchange in the United States. So Brett has a market cap of $562 million, sitting about 5 cents. And now the all-time high for Brett is all the way up here at about 21 cents, with $62 million in volume over the past 24 hours. And the max supply of Brett is around 10 billion, whereas the circulating supply is 9.9 billion. So like 99% is in circulation, which is how a meme coin should be, which is actually why meme coins do incredibly well, because a lot of projects have a lot of their max supply locked up and there's not that much in circulation, which allows for massive dilution if the circulating supply is not a large percentage of the max supply. So meme coins have nailed this aspect of tokenomics, which doesn't allow for massive token unlocks or VCs to dump on everyone's head, because it's a fair game, a first come, first serve, basically all price action and community, which is what everyone loves about crypto, looking at the charts and sharing memes on social media. So Brett is the legendary character from Matt Fury's Boys Club comic. He has become the blue mascot of the blue chain. So the better that Pepe does, the better that Brett will do. And if you guys haven't seen this video, you can go check it out on Base Brett on Twitter here. Watch it. It's only 50 seconds long, and it explains how it all started with these 4 characters. And if we look at Brett's charts, looking really good. We experienced a double bottom with a high low right here. We have a major resistance, which is the neckline for this double bottom trend reversal at roughly 9 cents. Which acted as support all through this range right here from the 29th of July of 2024 until the 4th of November, that it got rejected from right here on the 5th of May. So as the market continues to break out, I would expect Brett to rally back into this level again, and then eventually break through it to the upside to back test its previous high of about 23 cents. So a lot of these charts look similar. It's just really about volume and momentum here, and also marketing as well too, because we're 300% away from the previous all-time high. And if we draw the Fibonacci retracement tool from the high to the low, a 1.618 is about 37 cents. So from where we're at right now, that's 500% away. That's 5x. And that's not a guarantee, obviously. That's just an example, because to do a 5x from here, we would take roughly 500 million, multiply it by 5. That's about $2.5 billion market cap. Now, keep in mind, Pepe's market cap is currently $5.5 billion. And the all-time high for Pepe was upwards of $10 billion. And we're not even at the top of this bull run yet, based on Bitcoin's Pi Cycle top indicator. So if we were to just look at what Shiba Inu did last bull run, well, at the peak, Shiba Inu was upwards of $35 billion. So I think it's not only possible for Brett to go well over $1 billion, but I think it's a likely case scenario, because Coinbase's goal is to onboard 1 billion users. And if they onboard just a fraction of that, this bull run cycle, well, then that's a lot of volume to be flowing into the top meme coin on their chain. And so right now, Brett is still down at these levels within the accumulation zone as we transition from phase C off of this spring right here in this test phase in the Wyckoff schematic to phase D with a major breakout in the SOS phase before we go into phase E, which is the major markup phase. Because as you can see right here during phase B, we have this major breakdown to a low, then we experience a rally right here back into previous zones that were support as resistance. We experience another sell-off right here for the spring all the way down here. And then we go through test where we just experience volatility. So there'll probably be volatility over the next few weeks, next few months. Don't just expect Brett to break out back to the all-time high overnight, like I said with Ondo. But when it does make that move, similar to what happened for XRP, going from phase C to phase D, it'll happen relatively quick. Because you can see each time these breakouts happen, they happen over the course of a few weeks. From the 4th of November, Brett was at 7 cents. By the 25th of November, at the end of the month, it was up 200% at 23 cents. So the consolidation phases take a long time, but when the breakout happens, you just have to be positioned accordingly. Like I say all the time, you do not want to be chasing the pumps while the price is breaking out rapidly. You want to be accumulating while these indicators are all the way down here, potentially even lower. I mean, we're not all the way down near 20, and we're not down below 30 on the relative strength index because we're on the weekly chart. Brett is so new. So we would want to go to a more shorter time frame, like the hourly or the 4-hour, and just look at where these indicators are at in overbought or oversold conditions to get a better entry point. So right now we're at 6 and 2 on the stochastic. Incredible. The relative strength index is at 33. That's great. And we're in an uptrend right now. So in this bullish channel. So, hey, maybe Brett does something like this and just keeps marching higher, doing this before we break out. So we'll see. But as Total 2 continues to break out on the macro, since June 22nd all the way down here at the bottom, Brett has been forming higher lows and higher highs as well too. So I would just expect that to continue until we either break to the upside of this channel or we break to the downside. Now to break to the downside, I just don't see that happening unless there's some major war news or something like that. I just expect liquidity to just keep flowing in the market with these 3 bills that are being passed this week. And if you look right here at the base chain on DeFi Llama in terms of the total value locked, it's over $4 billion and climbing. So we're in price discovery right now in terms of value locked, whereas Brett is all the way down here, not even close to its all-time high. So like I said, we don't end a bull run in depression or even disbelief. We end it in freaking euphoria, man. Now, how long will it take for this to happen? Well, I think by December of this year. So really the main thing to do is just to back up your truck all the way to the bank, grab the bags, pack them and stack them, leave no bags left behind, because we already know the spending power of the dollar is going to continue to go down in value. That's a fact based on inflation, blockchain technology, distributed ledger technology, cryptocurrencies, meme coins, AI, real world assets, layer ones, decentralized exchanges are going to be absorbing the majority of the liquidity, and we're all running to the top. So I will see you guys on the next video. If you want to get early access to our research team's top altcoin picks first before we ever make videos about them, listen to this. Our research team posted GOAT on the 13th of October of 2024 when it was right at a penny, and since then it rallied to over $1, 5,000%. That's like turning $1,000 into over $50,000. Our team called Pendle at only a $16 million market cap, or 16 cents, back on February 18th of 2023, all the way back here, and since then it's rallied up over 4,000%. That's a 40x. It's like turning $1,000 into over $40,000. Our team also called BitTensor Tau September 15th, 2022, before the token was ever even launched. And since then, Tau has rallied over 2,000%. That's a 20x. Our team even said Solana is most likely to be one of the easiest trades next year, and this was posted December 29th, 2022, on the day that Solana bottomed out at around $8. And since then, Solana looks like it's up over 2,500%. That's a 25x. It's like turning $1,000 into over $25,000. The list goes on and on and on. Our team called Sui, Ondo, and even some of the biggest cult-based meme coins like MOG back in July 20th of 2023, the day that MOG launched. So if you want to learn how our team is finding these altcoins before they explode, we just launched Altcoin Pro University, where our research team gives you real-time altcoin picks with explosive potential for this bull run, along with 100+ expert curated classes crafted by industry experts to discover these gems yourself, on top of our live weekly calls every single week for in-depth crypto market analysis and daily updates. And that's just a fraction of what we offer inside of Altcoin Pro University through the link below. And although we make no guarantees because crypto is definitely risky, guys, this is only $97 a month or $970 a year. If you want to save $194, getting 2 months for free and unlock some exclusive bonuses, just go through the link in the description below. Get in right now. Watch the 26-minute video covering everything that Altcoin Pro University offers to help you become the first millionaire in your family tree, if that's a goal of yours. And you can get started through the link in the description below right now, or you can go to bullrunners.com to take advantage of the bonuses we're giving you before they expire. Everyone is loving the community. They're loving the education. They're getting access to real-time altcoin picks first before we ever make videos about them. So click the link in the description below, watch the video, and I'll see you on the inside.